everyone, welcome to Original Vlog. My name is Ori, and today I have two of my favorite people. You guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Jordan Washington.
I'm Erica Fernandez.
And today we're going to talk about what it's like to be in grad school. So the three of us are in a counseling graduate program at a very prestigious university. I don't think I'm going to say the name. And so we're just going to share with you guys what our experiences have been like and kind of give you advice if you're considering counseling or if you're considering grad school. So my first question, anyone can answer it, is what drew you or what led you to wanting to be a counselor?
Well, for me, I went to a high school with no school counselor, and so I see like the need for one, and when there is not one, how many resources and how much support students just aren't getting. So I said I want to be able to be what I didn't have when I was in school.
Yeah, I definitely echo that. And then also, as I'm like, this train of thought. So this was actually said in like one of my first classes that I know exactly who it was. So my theories class, and the professor was stating how people don't normally just like go into counseling. There's only a reason, a calling for it.
Yeah.
And I think with the experiences I've had in my life with the passing of my mom and having to still go through my college career, I realized there are certain supports that I needed, certain outlets that weren't there or that I wasn't aware of or didn't feel comfortable using. And I wanted to make sure, like Jordan was saying, just to be an advocate for people, to create that safe space where you can dialogue and communicate about what you're going through. And then also with the school setting side, I think there's a shift in our schools in terms of like the diversity, the demographics, and truly ensuring that all students are being served and receiving all the supports and whatever to make sure that they're successful. So every student can be phenomenal, and it's whether or not there is a belief in them to do so, and then that equity piece to ensure that they're being raised up when needed, when necessary.
Yeah, that's good. I would definitely piggyback off of that. As an immigrant, I had to navigate the American education system basically by myself. So I would go home and my parents would tell me like the expectation is for you to go to college, but I didn't know how to do that. So I learned throughout my life through like a trial and failure and just doing things and being, being innovative and going after things, but really not knowing what I was doing. Thank God I ended up, making the right decisions, but I really want to be someone who can guide and help people who are coming to the country and don't have any understanding of how the system works, because in this country, you really do need to understand the system if you want to be successful. But also to provide support for other students as well. Like you said, the demographics in our public schools have changed dramatically, and from my practicum experience, and we can talk about this later, I see how like the staff doesn't know what to do with these kids, and like they're lost. And so we as the younger generation have to be the ones who are taking the front lines and providing support not only to the students but also to the staff members in the communities as well.
I want to kind of add on to that diversity and support part, because in my high school, a lot of the students who were there did not look like me at all. So I think when I went to Howard, HU, When I went to Howard, it was like having professors who care about you so much, who look like you, who are so successful, telling you can do this too, like made a huge difference. So the representation of someone who looks like me who is successful is supportive. So I want to be able to be that supporter for minority students in the schools when we don't really have as many.
So our program is a counseling program, but some of us are going to be school counselors and some of us are going to be mental health counselors. So I wanted you guys to share what your experience has been like being in a counseling graduate program.
I feel like you went first. Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
So it has been a whirlwind. I feel like I am just so different in so many ways. I think being in a counseling program and with a certain standards and just assignments that are asked of you, you have to be really introspective, and you need to become aware of yourself, and you need to embrace where you are and understand where you need to be in order to be the instrument in the room when you're in a therapeutic session. So this has been one of the hardest things, one of the best things. I feel so excited that I'm about to graduate and do something amazing, but I think when you're considering a graduate program, you need to really put yourself out there. And then also, I think too, when you're in the graduate studies, you have a lot of previous like roles and duties that you've been in before, but to realize you're in this new space, well, for some people you might be in a totally different field, and to just really be open to that. Because I think I've had experience with a lot of people where they're like, well, I've come from this place and I've come from that place, where it's fine to use those experiences, but I feel like it's not good to put others down because you've been a lawyer before, you've been this before. It's like, okay, I understand, but we're now in this counseling program, so let's talk about this. And so yeah.
And to add to what you're saying, I don't know if I should answer this question later, but I think one of my frustrations when we started out the counseling program is how much you have to be accepting of other people's opinions, because it is a very like talk therapy kind of learning that we do. And I think the experience of being in a classroom with people with different opinions was part of the counseling. Like I had to learn, like, man, how would I accept this? What should I say back? And so I think in every aspect of this program, even the good and the bad side, you're learning how to be a counselor along the way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think for me, it's been a big time of growth for me. Just like doing like counseling tapes and like looking over the tapes and doing the transcriptions for all those sessions, and like looking back and watching yourself on tape and seeing how you said it, what you missed, what you did pick up on. I think I've learned, just like in life, like how my presence may affect someone else, how what I say affects someone else, how what I don't say affects someone else. And it made me more aware of just like how like social and political cultures can really affect a conversation. If you talk about something today and an event happens tomorrow, it could be a totally different conversation we have tomorrow. I think it really shows how, as a counselor, you need to be aware of, culturally aware, politically aware of where you are, who you're talking to, how you're saying it. Who are you to say that to someone else also, like coming from who you are. I think really what helped me also was just like learning how to take what I learned in my counseling classes and apply it to me in my personal life. And I feel like I'm like, wow, I've grown a lot. I'm more accepting of people's, maybe not like agreeing, but understanding like people's opinions and seeing how it feels from their shoes. So I think really it's helped me to grow a lot. It's been hard, it's not been easy. And you lose a lot of like that free time that you have, but it's like you think about the goal and what you're gonna have when you graduate. Like you're about to be out there. So it's like thinking about that moment makes you want to keep going. If you really don't really want to be a counselor, you're probably not going to stay in the program. No,
and we've seen people drop over the years.
I just think you look at the world differently once you become. Because the questioning skills, the idea of actively listening, and I always felt like I was a good listener, but no, actively listening, like so someone's leg shaking means more than them saying I'm fine, like so. And I think something that you said too, Jordan, that was so important is that you're using kind of like your counseling presence like outside of the counseling session, in the sense that like you're becoming congruent though, like your personal identity with your counseling identity. And for me, I feel like that's made me a stronger counselor, because I'm not trying to put on a facade. I'm not trying to just be calm or talk in a certain way or actively listen, but no, this is who I am as a person. So I think being in this program, it just has made me a better individual.
Yes, Erica, that's amazing. I think that's definitely what I've seen in myself is the growth. And I forget my original question. What is it like being in the counseling program? Oh, I think the program itself has been very challenging. But the fact that I have stepped up to the challenge has shown me that I am capable. I think when we first got accepted, for me personally, I was so excited, but I was also like, oh my God, I can't believe they accepted me. I didn't think I was good enough. And then every single semester that I get better grades and I'm getting positive feedback from my professors and my peers, I'm like, oh, I actually know what I'm talking about. Like, I'm actually good. So I think part of this program has taught me to believe in myself. It's taught me to have that counseling presence, but also, what's the word when you have like imposter syndrome? It's taught me to no longer have imposter syndrome because I am good at what I do, and I realize I'm bringing a different perspective, a very necessary perspective, especially when you see the opposite side of like what people are bringing, and when you notice like loopholes in people's opinions or in solutions that are brought up in class, you're like, wow, they really don't see what we see. So I think that's something that, I don't know if I answered my question, but I think that's something that the counseling program has really taught me.
Yeah, I think I realized too through the group counseling class, like I cannot like imagine being in the grad program without being able to like talk to my peers about it and like share our common stresses and like have therapy in my classes. Like I can't imagine like going through the stresses of graduate school without having that release and having that like, oh, me too, you're gonna be okay, and then like I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
We were talking about that though, but so although in class like you have like those like therapy sessions where you talk about where you are currently and stuff, it's interesting how some people really do use that space for a total like therapy session where like the focus is on that person, which I think that just hints to maybe you should seek out outside counseling because that self-care is so important. But I agree with you, being able to share with your peers and your professor just where you are in that moment points to just the overall idea like you have to be true, like you have to be okay and
like
solid as a counselor, because if you have some unfinished business and stuff going on, it will come out. There will be that counter transference, and that will just negatively impact your clients. So
and negatively impact your ability to counsel. Like you're not counseling anymore. And I think that's...
So you're thinking about yourself.
Yeah, I'm thinking like if you are trying to fake it, like you just can't. This is not a profession that you go into for fun, like to fake it. Like it's hard work, you know? And this is a great leading conversation about what are some of your challenges that you've experienced in the counseling program. And I can go first since you guys are went first.
Yeah.
So, so I guess my biggest challenge was the life changes that I had to make. I was telling you about like having to move and all that. I tried to like hold down a full-time job my first semester and I almost died. Like I was a zombie. So I think what I wish someone had told me is how much hard work and sacrifice it takes to get through a counseling program. I think I was envious of other friends who could work full-time and have a graduate program on the side. That was my idea of grad school, was like, oh, I could just do this on the side, like anything else. But really, this program felt very all-consuming. Like I had to really, especially because we're doing so much introspection and like deep thinking, it's very difficult to do that when you are trying to juggle multiple things on your plate. Like you really have to be focused to make sure you're doing things properly. So I think my biggest challenge in grad school has been taking away all the distractions, cutting down on things that are not necessary, making the necessary like adjustments to my schedule, whether it's like quitting jobs or moving or taking out more money so that I can pay bills and all that stuff. Like I think that was my biggest challenge. It's just the logistical parts.
So I think for me, I had assumptions about being in a counseling program, the idea that everyone's in a space where they're going to be accepting or at least listen, and that, I think I already talked about this, but where some people truly aren't in that space. And what was really frightening is that a lot of, not a lot, I would say a select few peers still have, and I know I'm not someone to just say this, but what I've experienced, how they made me feel in class, have some biases and have prejudices. And it's like, you might counsel someone who looks like me or has a similar experience as me, and I wonder how they will feel after leaving a therapy session. And I think the school that we're at does a wonderful job of making sure we have diversity classes and doing those counseling tapes. We have to do certain type of, you guys know, objectives. But it still is alarming where there's the idea that
like I have the right to tell you about your life.
Yeah.
Not being accepted
and
of other people's experiences.
Yes. And it's the complete opposite essence you should have as a counselor.
Yeah.
And also folks that still realize, that don't think that class or race, ethnicity, linguistic, just diversity, like play a role in presenting like concerns, but also like talking about that within the counseling session. A lot of counselors may minimize that or push it to the side or not want to talk about it because they don't feel comfortable. And it's just that was very off-putting, and I wasn't necessarily ready for that when it came about, like when I noticed it. And so I think that was kind of hard because we're here to hold each other to a high standard, and
not everybody wants to be at that.
Yes,
Definitely.
I think what's hard for me was probably making that big life change. Because I was working full time my first year in the program. I was balancing it out.
Yeah.
And then year 2 came around, and I was like, I cannot do this. Like, I'm losing my mind. Because the assignments that we have are not something you can just like, just fly by and do it. No, you have to really like sit down, focus, reflect, and like do the assignment. And I couldn't do that after a full day of work and like, you know, life chores and things I have to do.
Yeah.
So, and it's hard to go to work and then go to class and go home and try to get work done. It just can't happen. It won't be like, my best work will not be done. And so I said, I want to be able to put my full self, my best self in this program. So I switched to part-time my second year in, and it made it a lot easier. I think the biggest part was like, how am I going to adjust, like making sure I put in my schedule like time for self-care, time for me, time for sleep, time for homework, and then having a time to have fun with my friends and family, like making sure you balance all of those tasks and chores and friendships, stuff like that. So it's really like, it was the big life adjustment for me. So that was probably the hardest part. I want to say the second hardest part too was also being in the program and like seeing like different perspectives on things as a counselor, and like how are you going to be a counselor and have a view of something that's like, I'm the superior as a counselor. You can't go into situations like that. So that was kind of alarming, But the hardest part was like the life adjustment. It's a big life adjustment. But I'm glad I made it. But it was a big adjustment.
That's good. I think part of the reason I wanted to bring up that question is because I want people to be more like informed about grad school, because it is a very expensive and time-consuming commitment. And I think I get a lot of people who tell me like, oh, I want to go to grad school just because they think it's like the thing to do. And I'm like, no. Make sure you know what you're doing.
This is what you want to do. You're passionate about it.
It is a commitment. It's a commitment.
That passion is important.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason we see people who go into counseling for the sake and are not ready to be counselors, not ready to receive, not ready to learn, because I know that I came into the program with a lot of my own biases, but I was willing to learn.
I think that's the difference of like kind of what I was bringing up, and then you can like to take the step of being aware and then making advancements in learning and reading and also being able to bracket your own like standpoints and opinions. Like, so let's say I do have a client that has literally thinks completely differently than I do. I still need to be able to counsel that person, but it's as the counselor who you automatically have that power advantage just inherently with how it works. You just need to be aware of like what you're putting out there to your clients. They're not going to feel comfortable to bring stuff up, and that's the whole point, is for them to be transparent, to feel comfortable and safe in your therapeutic space. So, and
that's why we see a lot of like on social media people complaining about not being able to find good counselors. And every time I see that, I'm just like, ugh, you know? Yeah.
Just wait for me to get a couple more months.
We're coming. Wait for us. Yeah. Oh, okay. So what has been your biggest success in the counseling program?
So it has been the people I have been able to meet and collaborate with, and again, this like level of self-confidence that I've been able to grow. And from that, now being a part of like research projects and having the chance to like implement a grant initiative, it's just, I would have never, I don't know, this program just allowed me to be very self-aware, to gain that self-esteem, to be able to, you know, just come up from all these like people I'm interacting with. And yeah, it's just been the wonderful professors we've had contact with, and yeah, and just you all. It's so nice to be around positive people who are going for that same goal of just wanting to assist others.
Yeah, I would say definitely that growth and self-confidence, because I think before, if you told me years ago I would be in this program, like doing all these things, I'd be like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
But like I've done things that I thought I would never be able to do, and like I'm able to do these. I can do these things, and like I'm like getting, turning in assignments and getting great feedback from professors. Like, you can do this. Like, I see that you're going to be a great counselor. That for me is like, wow, like you're this accomplished professor, and like you're telling me that I can do it. Like that, thank you. That's amazing. So definitely that growth and self-confidence. It really helps you to even perform better when you know people are behind you, supporting you.
That's good. I think for me, the biggest success has been when I stopped obsessing about graduating and was more concerned about like being good at my job. I think that's when my mindset shifted, and also just the growth that has come from this program. Like, the more I learn about what it means to be a real counselor and a good school counselor, also, the more my heart is like, I'm broken. I'm like, oh, there's so much work we have to do, you know. So it's like I can recognize in myself becoming mature because of this program, and being more aware and not thinking of things in a very linear way. Because I think I came to this program right out of like college, and you know, you're still in that student mindset, but I think now we're switching into being like transformative school counselors. Like, I'm now taking on the identity of what I came here to do and seeing the bigger picture. So I think that is a huge success for me. Okay, so my last question. I know this happened quickly, right?
Yeah.
My last question is, what advice would you give to people who are considering counseling graduate programs? And
Specifically counseling?
let me see. Oh, we could talk about specifically
just-
counseling and grad school, but let's talk a little bit about like the exams you have to take, the process to get licensed. That's another thing that people may not be aware of. And then for me, I'm going to share about like the difference between what you learn and what you actually have to do like, in the field.
Yeah, I think for, you said exams, the tests you have to take. I think, look at the school you're applying to make sure you have all that you need. If you need to talk to, like, call and the admissions office, make phone calls, send emails your senior year or of undergrad.
Working in the workforce.
Or workforce. Make those phone calls, figure out what you have to do. Use your resources you have. If your job or your school has like a career center, like use it. Reach out to them. And I think, because some schools don't use GREs and some schools do, so make sure you look into that.
And
make sure
go to a
K-Prep accredited school. Yes.
Because
it's
really frowned upon, just being honest.
Yeah, so look into that. So what are your questions?
Exams.
Just what should you consider from our program?
Especially since we both talked about life changes.
Yeah.
And I think some people may not be aware of that.
Yeah.
Like grad school cannot be a hobby.
You have to be ready.
And if you have a partner too, outlining, because having a relationship too and being able to cultivate that relationship while being great at like schoolwork and your internship and practicum sites and being present in class and being able to read and study and do all this other stuff, it gets difficult, it becomes hard. And so really making sure you outline like relationship expectations, still like relationship goals, like how should we grow this year as a couple and stuff, because I know like we can it's like right now you're focusing on yourself to put yourself through grad school, but to also not forget that your loved ones that are right there next to you and supporting you is really, really important. What else would I would say? Oh, definitely contact your program lead. So introduce yourself, make yourself known. Yes, they get a ton of emails, but reach out, and do your research on the professors. So if there's a professor that has done certain research that you're interested in, email them as soon as possible. And first, like read an article or something, and then like tell them like why you appreciate the article and why that interests you and how that fits with like your long-term goals. And just put yourself out there. I think for me in undergrad, it's crazy. I wasn't a great student, I felt like. So for my master's program, I was telling myself that I'm going to be the exact opposite of how I was in undergrad. I'm going to literally introduce myself to every professor after the first class. You're going to know my name. You're going to shake your hand. If I get a point off on a paper, I'm going to follow up and ask like why, like what can I do to become better? Because I want 100 on this paper. Like really be that go-getter and set yourself apart, because opportunities will just flow your way if you become that person that you think you almost like can't become, like, and then, like be that role model, be that supreme person that you want to work towards, like really
success starts in your mind.
Yeah, you got to be ready to go to the program, be ready to make it a priority, and then also something that I did when I started the program. Don't feel bad for saying no to other things if you have to do your schoolwork first.
Yeah.
Make it a priority and make it a priority, fully, wholeheartedly, because when you have that, like, if you're like, you know,
not
half foot in, half in, half out,
it's gonna show.
It's gonna show. You're not going to want to put the same amount of work. You're not going to want to learn the same way. So make sure you're ready to make it a priority. Make sure it's something that you're passionate about, that you care about. You can take career tests
to learn.
Yes, skills, whatever you want. Career tests, skills tests to see what would best suit you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what's my advice for people? I don't know. I think
just be genuine, be a go-getter. Like no one can tell you, like I feel like there's no specific step.
Yeah, because you know what you need.
Be your best self. Be your best self. Be genuine. Be authentic. Be real. Put your whole self forward. Like, yeah.
If you believe that you can't, then you won't be.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, I guess what I really wanted to say was you have to step into the role of seeing yourself as the success that you want to be, like Erica was saying. And that you might lose some friends, like people who do not prioritize school, who are trying to get you to come out, let's hang out. You're like, no, I have papers to write. I think you have to step into a different role in your life and understand that what you're doing matters. Like your perspective matters, your input in this profession matters, and not taking it lightly and trying to like BS your way, because like we said, it's gonna show. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Stay original. Bye.
Bye.